Dragon Ball was interesting because like they gave me the script and I was like really? Like, no. And I was like, okay, this movie will do either one thing, like one of two things. It'll either like allow me to like, you know, stretch my muscles in a different character I haven't played, and it'll be an interesting opportunity and a challenge, or this will be the last movie I ever do.
Dragon Ball Evolution is the live-action adaptation of the Dragon Ball series. It's directed by James Wong and stars Justin Chatwin, and it's considered probably one of the worst movies ever made, sitting currently at number 17 on the bottom rated list on IMDb, and only a 2.5 out of 10 out of 67,000 user reviews on IMDb. It's safe to bet that people really don't like this movie. The creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, actually stated that he was horrified at this movie, so much so that he went on to make Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods as kind of a reprimand for how bad this movie was. And yeah, I think it takes a special piece of work to make the creator have to do something new to kind of make up for it.
Wow.
I grew up a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. When I was younger, Dragon Ball Z was really hitting the heyday over here in the United States thanks to Toonami, and I remember every day coming home from school and wanting to watch Dragon Ball Z. I've always had a love for Dragon Ball Z and the universe, and still to this day it's one of my all-time favorite franchises. I didn't go see Dragon Ball Evolution in theaters after my cousin said it was pretty bad. I waited and actually caught it on TV one day, decided to sit down and watch it, and I hated the film. Thought it was terrible and was completely and utterly disrespectful to the source material. Much like Bruno, that also came out in 2009 that I just recently revisited and found at the Dollar Tree on Blu-ray. I run into Dragon Ball Evolution at Dollar Tree on Blu-ray. Both films come out in 2009 and I watched them both in 2019. Bruno was a film I went from hating to loving, and we'll see if Dragon Ball Evolution is really as bad as they say it is.
Make me pay Geeko. Come on. Come on, Geeko. Right here. Come on, baby. Show me what you got. Just like I thought. Nothing.
The final level of air bending technique is the Kamehameha.
Yeah, my grandpa told me about that, but he said that I wasn't ready to learn it yet.
You are not.
Okay.
But time is running out.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. So the film starts off with a little bit of exposition, then we move on to Goku on these weird like porno close-ups of sweat running off of him. He's training with his grandpa, who basically raised him, and his grandpa schools him, and his grandpa just tells him basically, you need more time, you need to learn. Your typical underdog story setup. His grandpa ends up handing him a Dragon Ball, gave him a 4-star one, which this film got correct, which is one of the few things it probably did right. Then Goku shows up at school and gets picked on. They call him Giku, which is hilarious. Editor note, upon editing this video, I realized that they actually call him Giko and not Giku, which makes no sense to me because his name is Goku, not Goko. It doesn't make sense. Why do they call him Giko? Would it make more sense to call him Giku since the name ends in U, not O? I'm calling him Giku for the rest of the video because I recorded this and that's what I recorded it as. Because that's what I legitimately thought it was, because I thought they were doing a play on his name. Apparently not, so sorry.
Make me pay Geeko.
For now on out, I want to call him Giku because his character really isn't even close to being Goku whatsoever. Goku gets mad because he said he wouldn't fight, which is a complete contradiction of his character because Goku just kind of loves to fight. And he makes his face like he's incredibly constipated, or he just ate a bunch of KFC and it's fighting back. We move on. We're introduced to Piccolo in probably the lamest way possible. He basically kind of blows up a city, I guess, and you find out that he's hunting for the Dragon Balls. His sidekick does more damage in this movie than Piccolo does, just as a spoiler warning. Also, spoiler warning for the movie. Then we come back to Giku in class, and he just creepily stares at Chi-Chi. He's got a thing for her, and he fantasizes this weird thing about her eating fruit in class. It's really, really weird considering they're supposed to be high school kids. I mean, they all look like they're in their 30s, but they're supposed to be high school kids. We cut to Chi-Chi having trouble opening up her locker, and Giku like does this Jedi mind trick and forces all the lockers open. Chi-Chi notices him, walks over, and says, "Oh, you got some metachlorians in your bloodstream?" Really, the whole fact that she's not even like freaked out, because nobody in this world yet, it's never established that anything like this exists. It doesn't establish like there's all these powers. Everything that happens in this movie, a lot of people react to it like they had no information of anything previously happening to this, because there's even a moment in the school system where Giku says something about, oh, the Nameks coming back and destroying the world, and the teacher's like,
Well, let's hope it doesn't happen again.
So like Chi-Chi's like, oh yeah, I understand exactly what's happening. So they cut back to the grandpa making a birthday dinner for Giku, and he's upstairs trying to be this weird fuckboy. He's slicking back his hair, and it doesn't work because he needs anime spiky hair. He goes to this party where he's picked on again, and he decides, you know what? I'm not gonna fight, but I'm gonna dodge every single thing. And we have this really, really, really bad fight scene. There's a part where he literally slides on his head. It looks so stupid. It's not cool. It's playing off to be cool, and it's really one of the dumbest fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. Then he meets up with Chi-Chi. They go into the party and acts like this weird teenager. Meanwhile, Piccolo shows up at Grandpa's house. Piccolo is so lame in this movie. He's one of the lamest movie villains I've ever seen before in a movie. So basically, Piccolo collapses the house on Grandpa, and Giku feels it. He's like, oh no, Grandpa's in trouble, which is a callback to the show because they could feel life forces and stuff like that, which they never do in this show. They only assume that Giku can feel it. So he shows up, his grandpa dies, tells him he needs to meet with Master Roshi, and the next morning he buries him, goes into the house, tries to collect his things, when he finds his outfit, what Goku wears normally. And honestly, it's not a bad looking outfit. It looks okay. Doesn't feel like it fits live action, like a live action movie. It looks kind of cheesy because it's an anime, and a lot of the time anime doesn't translate well into film. But then he's attacked by somebody who believes that they're against each other, and they have this weird, awkward talk, and then out of nowhere, she's like, okay, I'll just team up with you. Find out, because of her blue strands, that she's actually Bulma. So Fiona Gallagher decides to join along, and they decide to go find Master Roshi together. They find him literally living Teen Titans style on this island. They break into his house.
We're not breaking in. Door's unlocked.
Master Roshi comes down, confronts them, and then once again we have another horrible fight scene, and then he realizes that, oh hey, this is what's-his-face's grandson, this is Giku. And so they decide they need to team up and find the Dragon Balls before Piccolo does, and there's this weird prophecy, I guess. So they go heading out, and along the way they decide they'll train, and they run into Chi-Chi, who's at this weird cult kung fu thing, and he's like hits on her and stuff and acts all awkward and weird. This whole love plot is really, really stupid and so underdeveloped and so forced. Why is this even in here? Then we get a little bit more training montage until they fall in a hole, and then you're met with literally the worst performance I think I've ever seen in a movie.
Yamcha, at your service. I'm gonna need some payment.
It has to be Yamcha, right? It has to be Yamcha to deliver one of the worst characters I've ever seen in cinema history. His line delivery is so pathetic.
Well, everything happens for a reason, bro.
They play him off as like the comedic bad boy, but oh my god, it's unbearable. So they sit there, have a bunch of more exposition, and Yamcha decides to join him because he's gonna get that money. So they find a Dragon Ball on top of a volcano, and Piccolo decides, instead of going down and confronting them himself, he's gonna give his blood and make these weird biological creatures to come down and fight him, I guess. They come down, we get some more terrible fight scene, which apparently there's a lot of this fight scene that was cut out of the movie. If anything, you need more action in this movie because there's nothing happening. Like, we're 45 minutes into like an 80-some minute movie. We're more than halfway through. And I feel like I've said a lot, but not really anything's happened. So Master Roshi goes meets this monk to get a talisman that's supposed to stop the Demon Lord Piccolo. We see a fight scene of Piccolo's sidekick and Chi-Chi. She cuts her, collects her DNA, and we move on with our life. There's this weird love interest build between Yamcha and Bulma that seems really forced and really out of nowhere, and it's also super underdeveloped. We have another training scene of Roshi and Giku. He's trying to teach him the Kamehameha, and he sucks at it. Obviously, the way they explain the powers and everything in this film is so stupid.
The final level of air bending technique is the Kamehameha.
What?
Then we have another weird, awkward love sequence of Giku and Chi-Chi. So Giku's got to light all these like fire lanterns with Kamehameha, and I didn't even know that was even a thing it could do, because apparently there's earth bending and fire bending and air bending in this movie. This might as well have just been the Avatar of live action. It's on the same level. Actually, this might be worse. So Chi-Chi's like, if you light them all, you can come over here next to me. And then Giku's like, all right, that gave me a boner, so I'm going to try it. And he obviously masters it within seconds, apparently. Then we cut into Bulma and Yamcha running into Chi-Chi in the hallway, and little bit known to her, guess what? It's not Chi-Chi. It's Mai. She's apparently a shapeshifter or something, I guess. I don't know. This film doesn't explain anything. So there's this Chi-Chi versus Chi-Chi battle, which I think is hilarious, because on the special features, there's like a 10-minute featurette about how great this scene is and how much work went into it. And it's literally like a 1 minute, it's probably under 1 minute fight scene. If you buy this movie, which I don't recommend, if you buy this movie though, just watch some of the features. So they find out that that wasn't actually Chi-Chi, and then Giku gets shot. He's basically dying, and Roshi decides, I'm going to heal him, because I guess Roshi can do that. He sees his grandpa, and his grandpa's like, it's not your time yet. He comes back to life. And we are 10 minutes from credits rolling, by the way. And here comes our climax. 10 minutes. That's all it takes to wrap this whole nonsense up. So the gang runs into Piccolo, who has all the Dragon Balls, and before he can finish the prayer to summon Shinron, which I don't think they actually call him that by name.
So Z Fighters show up and crash, and now we're treated to the twist of the film that Giku is actually Ozaru.
And he turns into the giant ape, because that's what Saiyans do, but yet he doesn't have a tail, and so they never really explain. They don't really go into detail with that at all. They're just like, apparently this demon lives inside him for some fucking reason. I don't know. And apparently they CGI'd over him, turned him into a monkey, because all the behind the scenes is some dude dressed up in a bunch of latex to look like a different creature. That's honestly kind of cooler than this really stupid CGI monkey. So basically, Giku goes on a rampage, starts attacking people, and he's about ready to kill Roshi and realizes what he's doing is wrong, and he decides to turn back into Giku. And he goes and fights Piccolo. The fight scene is really stilted, really bad. There's a bunch of really crappy energy blasts. All the meanwhile, Yamcha and Bulma kill Piccolo's sidekick. Goku does a Kamehameha, finishes off Piccolo. They all realize that Roshi's dead, so they use the Dragon Balls to bring Roshi back to life. They summon Shinron, and it's pathetic looking. It's so bad looking. They bring Roshi back to life, they go back, Giku kisses Chi-Chi, and boom, that's our movie. It's really, really, really bad. And the sad part is they leave a Marvel-style cliffhanger ending. Piccolo's still being alive. Like, they actually thought they made a good enough movie to make a second one. That's literally the breakdown of Dragon Ball Evolution. This movie sucks. It's terrible. It's really, really bad. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, it's a massive insult and disrespect to the source material. If you're not a fan of Dragon Ball Z, it's still a really bad movie. So there's an interview that Justin Chatwin, the guy who plays Giku, where he's like, I can't believe they turned a script into this.
Dragon Ball was interesting because like they gave me the script and I was like, really? And then I read it, you know, and it was like classic hero stuff.
He's basically saying, if you take away the Dragon Ball Z aesthetic, the whole Dragon Ball universe, you take this movie at face value, that its own complete thing. It's this heroic underdog tale of coming to age and realizing your true power inside. That is technically what this movie is, but nothing in this movie is developed. Everything, this movie is so short, everything is brisked by so quickly, yet there's so much filler in this. There's so much scenes of just complete nonsense that could have been used to develop the characters or something. Every character is so two-dimensional, cut out, and so bad. The acting is terrible across the board because I think everybody realized that this movie was crap and the paycheck was good enough. That's how I felt like everybody took this movie. Nobody's having fun with this movie. There's no sense of direction. There's so many scenes where the main character playing Giku, you obviously can tell, just has no idea what's going on or what to do because he just like looks around and is like, I'm just gonna act a little goofy because Goku's supposed to be a little goofy, and it's so bad. The villain Piccolo is like in this movie for maybe 3 minutes and his sidekick outshines him. His sidekick basically does everything. They build up Piccolo to be this evil villain and he does nothing in the movie, like at all. They build up how horrible this Ozu or whatever, the demon that Piccolo controls, how terrible he is, but he's like not even in the movie. Like he does nothing in the movie. He kills Master Roshi and goes, "Oh, I did a wrong thing," and then turns back into Goku, and then Goku just plows through Piccolo like he's nothing. It's so bad on so many levels. It tries to play off all these corny, goofy, like comedic moments that just fall flat. The action, the CGI is all really bad. The camera work's really bad. The soundtrack's really bad. The only thing it has going for it is that it used a correct 4-star. It has the correct names, and that's pretty much it. Like there's like so much, like if you strip away anything to do with Dragon Ball Z, like it never existed, and you watch just this movie, this is still a really bad movie. It's really poorly made. Unfortunately, it exists and it's connected to the Dragon Ball Z universe. The only good thing to come out of this is that Akira Toriyama basically came out to make Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, then Resurrection F, and then the whole Super universe, which I need to watch Super, but it kind of made him come back to revisit his Dragon Ball universe to be like, I need to do something good because this can't be the last thing I have on my universe. This amazing thing I created. I can't let this be the last image that's associated with this. It's baffling that this movie, because it's a lot like, at least Avatar, the live action movie, had something behind it. It had, you know, it had M. Night Shyamalan, who at the time was a good director. It had some promise to it, and it just failed. This movie, it didn't have a director that had much credentials behind it. It didn't have a cast that had much credentials behind it. I don't understand where this movie got greenlit, because even at face value, if you read the script to this, you would have to know something about Dragon Ball Z, I would assume, to greenlit a movie about Dragon Ball, right? Like about Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball or whatever. You would have to know a little bit about it. And if you read the script, you'd go, well, this sucks. This is not only really have no correlation with the Dragon Ball Z universe, but like even if you knew nothing about it, you'd still have to read the script and go, this is not very good. And they still shelled a bunch of money to this movie to get it made. And oh man, it's bad. So yeah, we looked at Dragon Ball Evolution. Unlike Bruno, that I ended up really liking, it's still really bad. I've unfortunately had to sit through this movie about 3 times extra making this video, and it's pretty bad. I am gonna try to watch something good to cleanse my palate.
That's what you said, right, Jim?
You people, am I beneath you?
Definitely.